Hi there, my name is Sky and I'd love to be your new favorite art teacher. We are once again fast approaching the holiday season, so in this week's tutorial we are going to create a family of festive snow people. Thanks for being here, let's jump in. Hello again, beautiful artists, and welcome back to another episode of Paint Along with Sky, or if you're new here, welcome. I'm going to take you through a painting today. Every single step of the way we're going to be doing a fun family of snowmen or snow people. And this is going to be a pretty simple class today. I'm using my 3 standard brushes that I use in most of my classes. I'm going to show you the materials before we jump in. So I like to use typically 3 brushes. I'll use a large wash brush. This is a 3/4 inch wash brush. Also a size 16, and then 2 small detail brushes, one sort of a medium size, this is a size 8, and then one smaller, size 4. Your brushes don't need to be the exact same sizes as mine are, but they should be the same general size and shape and made for a water media. The colors that I have on my piece of palette paper, I have black and white, a little bit of cadmium yellow, little bit of phthalo green for my trees, and some ultramarine blue. To see a full materials list of everything that you need to paint along, check the description box below. It'll show you the colors for today's tutorial, but it will also have a link to my materials page on my website, which is skypratt.com, SKYEPRATT.com. You can click on the materials page and it'll break it down for you, everything that you need to paint along. Okay, let's jump on into our background step. I'm going to grab my medium brush first, and I'm going to do something I like to do in a lot of my paintings, which is to create a horizon line. And that will kind of separate the 2 main background areas, which is going to be the ground with the snow and the sky in the background. And I'm going to mix up a sky gray blue, very, very light, just a little pinch of black and a little pinch of blue. And for my horizon line, I'm going to do it maybe about 1/3 of the way up. And I'm going to sort of gently curve my way across. And that's all we have to do with the medium brush for now. And then we'll grab our large square brush and work up in the sky, getting that all filled in. So I'm going to, I want it, obviously to look like it's a snowy day. So I'm going to add a little bit of blue to a gray. This is such a pretty color, but we want to go mostly white. We don't want to go too dark because it's, of course, the sky. And everything above that horizon line that we just added, I'm going to fill in with textured brush strokes. And what I did there was I got my gray mixture, just like put some paint all around that top part of the canvas. And then I got a little bit more water with my brush. I'm going to use that to sort of like a sponge or a tool to sort of soak into the canvas board texture. And that was probably enough color because again, we're going for the sky. So I'm going to use a lot of white in this painting, obviously, because it's a snowy, gorgeous day. And I'm going to use some white in the sky. I do want still a little bit of gray though. We're going to be working with a lot of subtle tones of gray today. So we don't want it to go full white right where our snowmen are going to be, or our snow people, snow family. We want to have some contrast because that's going to be white on white, otherwise kind of hard to see. But again, it's the sky, so I want some white too. So what I'm going to do is just make sure it's a little more saturated right in the center. And then I'll add some white kind of back up in the outer edge. has some clouds or some sort of overcast. Great. Okay. And now you could use your medium brush or you could use your large brush, depending on what feels better to you. I think I'm just going to stick with my large brush. And I'm going to mix a very light gray and go right along that same line that I started with. Okay, then I'm going to do a few more sort of curvy lines with my gray further down. And then I had a little bit too much paint on my brush, so I rinsed it off. I'm going to sneak in a little bit of blue right underneath that gray. And then I'm going to fill the rest in with white and use my white to sort of soften and blend everything. So we want a sort of streaky white, gray, blue. Sorry for the loud traffic. It's always so much louder than I think it's gonna be. It's amazing, people's trucks. I live right by a hill, and they accelerate as they come up the hill. Okay. And then I always think, it's just a normal truck. Surely it's not gonna be that loud, so I just keep teaching through it. But I really should pause. Sorry about that. When we teach in person, or like my theater background, we are always taught to just go right past interruptions. But of course, in YouTube video land, things are usually pretty heavily edited. So once I have the paint on the bottom part here, I'm just kind of using my brush to sort of smooth everything out and go in that sort of curvy direction of those first lines. And then you'll get kind of a nice mix, and that's about right. So don't overwork it or you'll just get gray, but then you could always add some white or some darker tones to kind of even things out. And once it looks pretty good, go ahead and step away because we are going to now let this first layer dry. I'll still have my tree colors on my piece of palette paper, but I want to give all this white a moment to dry, and we'll come back and add our lovely trees as the second part. All right, I'll see everyone in a few minutes. Okay, welcome back, artists. We have a completely dry background. And I rinsed my brushes and got some fresh water at break. I still have my green and yellow and black on my piece of palette paper. I'll probably need a little bit more white here in a minute, but let's jump back into things with our tree first. So I'm gonna grab my medium-sized brush. We're gonna do a few trees. And this gorgeous phthalo green has a little bit of blue tone in it. So I'm going to take some of my yellow, scoop this down a little bit, and use the yellow to counteract the blue in that green, and then I'll add a little bit of black too. I should get a nice foresty green color. And I'm going to do these trees sort of framing what will be my snowman family in the center. So I'm going to start with just an up and down line. And then I'm going to tap my brush up a little bit and then going to start building little triangles of tapping. And they're not going to be perfect. You want to kind of mess them up a little bit too, because we would be looking through some of these layers from our vantage point, but it's sort of like building little triangles on top of each other until you reach the horizon. And I'm going to do 2 trees on this side. These are a little bit more leaning towards realism than the typical trees that I've done, which are very cute and sort of cartoony, which is fine if you'd like to do those instead. Those ones I sort of do these sort of swift downward brush strokes instead of tapping. But I sort of liked this same tree that we did from the celestial tree. I forget what brush I used for that, but you can use any brush. Okay, cute little two tree friends there. And let's do one over here too. Okay, a little bit taller maybe, just to make things interesting. And just kind of tapping my way down. Once you get a hang of these trees, it's really fun. And you can make whole forests. All right, bringing that right to the horizon line as well. All three trees sitting on the horizon. Okay, great. I'm going to do just a couple more little quick things. Let's take a little bit of a darker gray blue. I'm going to do some shadows right underneath those trees. And it pulled a little bit of green through, which is not the end of the world, but not really what I was going for. But I did want to just pull a little bit of more blue into our snow bank. And then also probably a bit more white a few places too as a highlight. Getting the ground area finished before we add our snow family. I don't mind the green though, also because it's kind of like reflecting the trees, which also works. Okay, I'm gonna do a little bit of a shadow color in my trees too, just because I feel like it, especially towards the base and center. Adding that into the same areas with the emphasis on the bottom parts of the triangle. Really moving my brush very quickly. With details, I'm never using a lot of pressure. With the backgrounds, I usually am using a fair amount of pressure. Great. Okay, let's give that another just quick second to dry. I'm also going to get some more white on my piece of palette paper, and then we will start building our snow family. Okay, I put a little more white on my palette paper and also some red and yellow in preparation for decorating my snow people. But I like to work background to foreground, so I'm going to jump back in with my trees because they're not quite finished yet. And I'm going to take a little bit of white on a small brush, my smallest brush. And I'm going to do little dots that are sort of like tapered off, little piles of white. And my trees is still a little bit wet, so I don't want to blend too much. I just want to tap, 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 and then clean the brush maybe if I need to, and then tap, tap, tap in some more white, just like snow. So fresh and frosty. A little bit of clean white, again, just makes everything so snowy. It's a winter wonderland. Blanket of white on everything. Okay, perfect. Okay, and now for our snow people. Of course, we have to start with building the bases of our people. And I'm doing like a snow family here, so you could do whatever you like. And I'm gonna do like a classic trio. So I'm gonna start with sort of medium-sized circle, and then I'm going to do a smaller circle next to it. That's gonna be like the baby snow person. And then one more medium-sized circle for the other snow spouse. And then I'm going to fill them in with a nice thick layer of white so that we get some good opacity, not too see-through. Okay, and then, you know, we just build snow people as one does, with the body section in the middle, just starting from the bottom and working our way up. And then we'll have, of course, the head, a little bit smaller for our snow child. I like to kind of go round and round, of course, to get my nice circular shape, but then I can come back and sort of tidy up my brush strokes too. And since we have a lot of white going on, I want to do a quick outline of our snow people with a light gray with just a pinch of blue, like a pencil color with a touch of blue, similar to our background snow. And I'm going to do a quick sort of 3/4 outline along the outside edge, and just pick one side mostly, so you can see how just that subtle, quick little micro shadow helps define the shape a little bit more. And again, I'm starting from the bottom up, building my snowmen in my snow world, just like one would. I think I've only built a few snow people in my day. Doesn't snow very much where I live, and then of course I grew up on the West Coast, right on the beach. So we were making sand castles while everyone was making snowmen. I've lived and traveled many places since then though. So I think I made a snowman on the East Coast. And we definitely had a snowball fight and some fun when we would go to the high mountains in California, like Mammoth. Okay, a little bit of shadow around, and let's do a little bit of shadow underneath where our snow people are sat. Cute. Coming together, our little snow family. Let me do a little bit more white. And then of course, we are going to give our snow people arms and faces and accessories in another quick moment. I think we need to be patient today and let this dry too. If you wanted to, you could pull out a hairdryer things dry really fast where I live, so for me it's just a quick step away. But let's let this layer dry one more time, and then we'll come back and accessorize. All right, I'll see everyone in a few. Okay, welcome back. We have dry little snow people, a nice full dry couple layers, and we're going to accessorize. I added a little bit of warm brown, burnt sienna brown, onto my palette paper too. I'm just using the same one since it's going to be a lot of the same colors. So I still have my black and my white, my green, my cadmium yellow, my cadmium red, and my ultramarine blue. And we'll see what I use. I want to jump in here really quick, and if there's any areas where there's kind of too much see-through in my snow people, going to hit that with another layer of white now. It's always satisfying to let things dry, come back with a fresh pair of eyes on a fresh layer. Great, okay. Now, you gotta choose what everyone's gonna wear. So, you know, the classic snowman, I feel like, is snow gear. So we're making these snowmen, and then we're giving them scarves and beanies. The top hat seems to be a popular choice with snow people as well. So I kind of want to do like a little bit of like like a winter formal for my snow people. So I'm gonna do first the top hat on one of them. And that's of course just gonna be black. And I'm just using my baby brush and a little tiny bit of pressure to put a little top hat on one of my snow people. Okay. And then I think it would be fun to do like a beanie. I'm gonna do like a candy cane inspired look for my other snow parent. And I'm going to start with red, and then I'll do just like a little dome at the top. Okay, and then I'm going to do a really quick, tiny little shadow to sort of separate the two sections. And I'll add some stripes to that later. And on the top hat, I'm gonna have a little highlight right where the brim is. And maybe that's a little bit of snow on the brim of the hat too. Cute, okay, and then I think I'm gonna do orange, which is quick to make and pretty easy. And you of course just mix your red and yellow. I'm gonna do a little orange beanie for our young snow person. Sometimes the black has a little bit of blue tone in it. So to make a darker orange, I like to add a little bit of brown instead. Orange is sort of a finicky color. It doesn't have very good opacity. It's pretty see-through. But these are pretty small details, so you can kind of just tap them in. You should get pretty good coverage if you use enough paint. Okay, 3 hats. And let's do carrot noses for everybody. Give everyone features now, so make sure you don't have a drip. And let me actually make a little fresh batch of orange, more yellow than red, to get that carrot orange. very small little triangle for each of our snowmen, and you can decide which way they are facing with the angle of your carrot. Okay, very tiny details. Make sure I have enough space to add features. And now we're going to do some coal eyes on each of our snowmen, snow family. Tiny little taps of black, and then it's nice to give them buttons. Always the classic snowman look. And I might do 3 for my adult snowmen and just 2 for my little guy. If things get a little bit wonky, you could always grab some white and tidy things up a little bit. Okay, and then I really should have added this before, but wanted to get the features on everybody, but I want to do a little red scarf. On her, so cute. And let's do a green scarf. I love this teal color on him. And I'm going to make the tie end a little different. Cute, and let's do an orange scarf, but I'm going to do a little bit lighter color. All right. And I think I'll pretend like the ties are behind him. Okay, and let me just correct my shapes. This is the whole class today, is pretty much just these snowmen, so take your time on these little shapes. Okay, and then arms with our warm brown, and I like to add a little bit of white. This is a really nice orange color to add in there too. So added a little bit more red and a little bit more yellow. Brown is sort of the mixture of all the colors in paint, at least. So you can kind of play around and create different tones. I'm going to do sort of just this light beige color and have them be either stick shaped with one little like side hand, or you could do 2. I kind of like the look of one. Like we very carefully selected some sticks. So I did this painting on a request. The Ghosts in Love painting for Halloween was popular, which is cool because it was really cute and I liked it too. So these are sort of, it's like a snowman in love, but it's a snowman family. I'm gonna take a little bit of a lighter color in there. And I know this is like tiny details, but it would be nice to take a darker brown and add a little bit of shadow on those too. You can see that that just adds a lot of depth. Just a quick pass on one side, right on top of the same color, so you're not making it super thick. Little tiny details today. All right, I'm going to do some candy cane inspired stripes in one of the scarves, just with little tiny brush strokes of white. And then I'm going to do black stripes over on our gentleman. Pretty cute. Okay, and final little baby touches. I'm going to do a little bit of gray outlining just to finish things off. I like to do the darkest shadows and the lightest highlights at the end. So I had a little bit of dark shadow on my snowmen before, but I want to just make that a little bit stronger and gives me kind of one last chance to tidy up the shape. Very light pressure, just tiniest little skinny line. Very gently outlining things. And let's do one more little shadow right where they are set on the snow. Just a few little brush strokes. Very light pressure. I think I need a little bit more shadow under my hat. Okay, let's add a little touch of whimsy, just for fun. My final step, I'm gonna take a little bit of snow and add a few fun little swirls in the background as a final touch. Okay, any like nice light snow highlights, this would be a good time to add, again, your lightest highlights, your darkest shadows. But I think that's pretty cute and simple and whimsical, and I hope you had a fun painting a little snow family along with me today. If you painted along with me, I would love to see your work, and I've created a Facebook group called the Art Club, where you can share your work with me and the other students that are taking these classes. It's the best part of my day to see your beautiful masterpieces. I absolutely love it. There's a link in the description box below to join. And that's all the instruction that I have for us this week. So have a very happy holiday season, and I'll see you again soon. Stay creative.